Hello everyone and welcome to Adventures in Coriolis. Today we're here at Dollywood. We're going to check out all that's inside Dolly Parton's museum, the Chasing Rainbows Museum. So come on, let's get this adventure started. Chasing Rainbows was opened as the official Dolly Parton Museum back in 2002. Prior to that, there was a Rags to Riches Museum that did contain a lot of the museum for Dolly on Park. It was located on top of a pedestrian tunnel, which now is in Craftsman's Valley. Now, once you enter the museum, you'll be in Dolly's Friends Room. A lot of pictures on the wall there with Dolly and various friends she's had over the years. And then you'll head up the stairs to Dollys Attic, where you're going to see a lot of personal artifacts and things she's collected throughout her career. So let's head into Dolly's Attic now, where you're going to get welcome from, well, Dolly herself.
Oh, well, hello everybody. How are you? Well, I hope you're having a wonderful time here at Dollywood. You know, I always wish that I could personally greet each and every guest that comes here. Well, as it turns out, that's another one of my dreams that I was able to make come true. So welcome to my Chasing Rainbows Museum. Now, I decided to call it Chasing Rainbows because that's exactly what I've been doing since the day I arrived on this good earth. I keep chasing my dreams, and when one dream comes true, well, I just head out right after the next one. Now, everything you see and hear in this museum is part of my journey. Now, there's certainly a lot of valuable stuff in here, but it's not the stuff that's important to me. What is important are all these memories that this building holds. Just like that old song, these are my precious memories. Memories of a little girl who dared to dream big. Memories of a family who lived without a lot of things, but love was not one of them. Remember this one thing, that I will always love you. Yes, I will always love you. I'm out of here.
Now, the Chasing Rainbows Museum at Dollywood is the perfect repository for all things Dolly. In interviews over the years, Dolly's often remarked that she keeps various arts and crafts building where she keeps, well, basically everything from the course of her career. And sometimes a lot of these things make their way onto Park and into the Chasing Rainbows Museum. So all the stuff you're looking at as you go through Dolly's Attic and as you wind your way through the entire museum is actually stuff that Dolly's either been presented with, owned, or just somehow had part of her collection over her storied career. So once you head out of Dolly's Attic, you'll walk through a portion of the museum about her early life and childhood. You'll see there a section dedicated to the doctor who delivered Dolly, Dr. Robert F. Thomas. You'll also see a replica of her childhood home and some of the things they had there. And then also you'll see her coat of many colors, or at least a replica of it. But also one of the coolest things you'll see in the museum there is the handwritten copy of the lyrics to the song Coat of Many Colors. And Dolly's always said this is the favorite of all the 3,000 plus songs she's written over the course of her career. As you move a little bit further, you'll start to see some things associated with the Coat of Many Colors, particularly the couple of movies that Dolly did surrounding the song. You'll also see here some pictures from Dolly's family. You'll see some baby clothes from some of Dolly's siblings. Just a real highlight of the importance of Dolly's family to her, both personally and on her career. You can see here some of the clothing worn in the various Coat of Many Colors movies and some of the dresses that Dolly wore both in the movie and also to the premieres. The premiere of which was actually held at Dollywood in the Celebrity Theater, and these are some of the clothing from the second movie.
Now, there were few ordained ministers in our parts anyway. If a young man felt led to preach the gospel, well, he just let it fly. Many of them couldn't even read and write. They just watched other people preach and copied the way they did it.
Now, religion is very important to the folks back in Appalachia, and that portion of the museum, Dolly actually tells a little bit about how her grandfather was a preacher, and she shares a little bit about him. This next portion is Dolly's high school years, and you can see here a picture of Dolly's class trip, her senior trip to Washington, D.C., and there front and center in the photo you can see a very young Dolly Parton with her class. There's also a highlight here in this portion of the museum on education. Education's always been very important to Dolly and continues to be to this day, as she is an advocate for childhood literacy. You can also see here some artifacts from Dolly's days being in the marching band of her high school, Sevier County High School in Sevierville, Tennessee. And the next portion of the museum talks about her start locally as a star. Of course, Dolly started on the Cass Walker radio program in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's where she got her start, and here's some artifacts from during that time in her life. And of course, you can't talk about Dolly without talking about her husband, Carl Dean. The couple were married many, many years ago. Fun fact, they actually went down to Ringo, Georgia, just across the Tennessee-Georgia state line to be married so that their marriage would stay out of the Tennessee papers. Her record label wasn't very keen on the fact for young Dolly to be married so early in her career, so she didn't want them to know. I think she said at one point that it was about a year before she actually broke the news to the label that she had been married. Carl Dean has never been one to have his photo taken, so these are some rare glimpses of Carl Dean and Dolly back in their early days of their marriage. But Dolly has been married to Carl Dean now for over 50 years. So now I'll walk down the stairs in the museum and see this very open space. You'll see a lot of the pictures throughout Dolly's career. You'll see some of the album covers there displayed. You'll see some personal pictures that she's included for the museum and some of her clothing. Dolly and Carl Dean have been married for about 55 years, and this is the wedding dress that Dolly wore and the suit that Carl Dean wore back in 2016 for their 50th anniversary when they renewed their wedding vows. So Dolly sent the dress and suit here to be included in the Chasing Rainbows Museum. So it just goes to show you the amount of importance that she puts on the museum and the value of the things that she puts here. Now as we descend the stairs, you'll start to see a lot of Dolly's awards. You'll start to see a lot of Dolly's wardrobe. We're really getting into the heart of the artifacts now. This is a dress that Dolly wore back in 2009 when she was presented with an honorary doctorate by the University of Tennessee. It was at this commencement address that Dolly gave her Dream More speech, which eventually became the name of her resort when it opened in 2015. Here were more dresses and outfits that Dolly's worn over the years, including these two outfits here, which were worn on the cover art for two of her albums, For God and Country, which was released back in 2001, 2002, and then her Heartstrings, which was a live album that she recorded back at home in the mid-1990s. Speaking of Dream More, here's the dress that Dolly wore on the cover of that book, and also the outfit that Dolly wore on the cover of her cookbook that came out back in the 2000s. There's always been lots of talk surrounding Dolly's high heels. Of course, as you'll see as you go throughout the museum, her clothes, she is a very petite and small lady. However, she does wear these extremely high heels. They keep her elevated and a little bit taller at all times. Here are a couple more outfits that Dolly has worn on the cover of albums. The one on the left there she wore on the cover of her Live and Well album, which was recorded live at Dollywood. While Dolly has won many, many awards during the course of her multi-decade career, she has a handful of those, some of the most important ones, on display here in this trophy case. And it's pretty cool to take a moment to just look at some of the awards that she's won. You can see here those wooden trophies there are some old CMA awards from years in the past. Here are some of Dolly's many Grammy awards that she's won over the course of her career. There's just a commemoration award from the Grand Ole Opry. This one's pretty cool. This is actually a Kennedy Center Honors, and Dolly was presented with this back in 2006 It's pretty much one of the highest honors that you can receive as an American in the arts. Here are more outfits that Dolly has worn on various album covers, including 2014's Blue Smoke and also the Trio album. You can also see here the outfit that Dolly wore on the cover of one of her better known albums, 9 to 5 and Other Odd Jobs. These dresses are some of the most recent to be added to the collection at Chasing Rainbows. The dress here on the left, Dolly wore on the red carpet when she was selected as Music Care's Person of the Year in 2019. And the dress you see there on the right was actually worn by Dolly when she performed on the Grammy ceremony a few nights later. Dolly's appeared in several movies over the years, and now we're going to move into the part of the museum where she stored her clothing and some of the set from some of those movies. The first being The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which Dolly did back in the 80s, co-starring Burt Reynolds. Next here you can see a dress there on the right used in the filming of the movie Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone. Here's some dresses in the middle from Dolly's time on Still Magnolias, including her original script, which she stored here at the museum, and also some of the clothes and script from when Dolly recorded the movie Straight Talk back in the early 90s in Chicago. Now, of course, we can't talk about Dolly's movies without 9 to 5. Here's some of the outfits and dresses she wore during the movie, the original script that Dolly used. Dolly actually memorized the entire script for 9 to 5, including the lines that weren't even hers. Now we can see some of the other outfits from Dolly's album covers and major performances she's done over the years. This dress here in particular, Dolly wore back in 2014 when she performed to a record crowd of over 200,000 people at Glastonbury in the UK. You can see her set list there that would have been on stage. You can also see from that same tour over in England here some of her daily itineraries that she used. I believe that was part of the Blue Smoke tour. Blue Smoke World Tour that Dolly went on in 2014. Of course, in 2016, crippling wildfires impacted parts of the Great Smoky Mountains, and Dolly stepped in, as she always does, and contributed via the My People Fund, which raised money for the folks who were impacted and lost everything due to the fires. Dolly actually went on to win an award for her humanitarian efforts during the wildfires, and you can see that award on display here at the museum. In recent years, Dolly recorded her first children's album, I Believe in You, and here's the dress that Dolly wore on the cover of that. Of course, children have always been close to Dolly's heart in her imagination library, and here's some artifacts about the program, some information, some of the books that have been instrumental in that program. The Imagination Library has given out hundreds of millions of books to children, and in 2018, Dolly was in Washington, D.C. to present the 100 millionth book of the Imagination Library to the Library of Congress, and on that day she wore this outfit here to read a book to the children. This final part of the museum just details the history of Dollywood by pictures. You see pictures here all the way back to the beginning of Dollywood. Dolly typically tries to appear at the park at the beginning of each season, and she usually dresses themed to what the theme for the year is, what the new ride or attraction is for the year. So you can see here pretty much for each year of the park, Dolly appearing. Of course, these pictures here from back in 1986 at the park opening. But such a great way to end the Chasing Rainbows Museum, honoring Dollywood and just seeing how much Dolly has contributed to the area where she was born and raised. Now, as you exit the Chasing Rainbows Museum, you can actually see Dolly's home on wheels. This is a retired tour bus that she keeps here at the park. And during the filming of this video, it's actually during the global pandemic, so you can't go on the bus right now. However, normally you can get on the bus for a picture. Thank you all for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this look at Dolly Parton's museum here at Dollywood Chasing Rainbows. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I encourage you to please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.